And we're back for game number 2 of this best of 3. And I'll tell you what, I think myself and every caster involved in game 1 is still collectively trying to catch their breath and put their head back on. Just absolutely blown away out of how back and forth that match was. And Zenith walking away with the game 1 win. I mean, truly, just an unbelievably solid performance out of both squads. And the single most impressive stolen reverse polarity I think I've ever seen. And I'm not going to ruin too much more, but my goodness. And I'll tell you what, there is a big debate between casters, community members, even players as to, do you like the what I think accurately term the older style of Dota, these 60 to 80 minute farm fest, 4 protect 1, etc. Or do you prefer the more North American and European centric approach that we see most of the time now, which is a lot of aggression early on and games that tend to last 30 to 40 minutes as opposed to 40 to 60. And I like both for a variety of reasons. In general, if you had to ask me which I like to cast, I like the more action-packed sort of Dota for the most part. And, you can say that's bias or whatever. It's not bias against any team or any region or anything like that. I just prefer that as a broadcaster. But if there is one thing that I can say that I do love about the long, drawn-out games when you'll have literally 10 minutes of downtime. And we saw that. We would see almost no action from Roche to Roche. We saw that in game 1. But one thing I love about that is the juxtaposition of that followed by 30 seconds of so much excitement that I literally stood up in the middle of the last broadcast. I jumped out of my chair. I was so excited. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is going to be actually properly done. Some of you may be hearing my voice now in Dota TV, and hope you guys are enjoying that and hearing me quite clearly. I had the cast game number 1 from Dota TV, from Dota TV, not in Dota TV, because my ISP, who has earned a considerable amount of my ire over the last 72 hours, is about to get a lot more because it crapped out and was not ready to roll until 3 a.m. or 3:15 a.m., which is 15 minutes late. So he came back just in time for me to miss out on being able to join the lobby. But I'm here now, and thanks to everyone tuning in here on One More Game TV. Hope you're enjoying the show. Looking forward to a game 2 here. So let's take a look at the bands and the picks, see where we stand. Keeper of the Light, Bad Rider, taken out by Zenith. Lone Druid plus the Nyx Assassin, going to be banned out by First Departure. Magnus, first pick by First Departure. And it's kind of tough to not first pick a Magnus. It's one of those situations where, basically it was turned against them. They had Magnus in game 1 on their own team. But just seeing how devastating that could be. And Zenith says, that's fine, pick Magnus again. We'll be happy. We will be happy to steal reverse polarity again, if we can. Tinker, the second pickup from Zenith, and a little weird. Tinker's not a bad hero. Usually, Tinker, if he is going to come out in the first 6, he'll come out in 3rd position. And the reason is Tinker kind of gives you away a little bit. He's a hero who really craves a solo lane. He craves a one-on-one situation early on to really get the most out of his skill set and out of what the hero brings to bear. So you see a Tinker pick come out, 9 times out of 10, he's going to wind up solo mid, or he's going to wind up in a solo safe lane situation. So, again, that's kind of why you usually don't want to show that early on. 2 more very strong pickups from First Departure, adding Darkseer and Shadow Demon. And yesterday I talked a lot about Shadow Demon and the fact that the hero has just become, I would argue, in terms of like pure hard support, like, yes, Magnus and Darkseer, they're not carries, and neither is a Rubik, etc. Rubik is what I would term a hard support, for example. Like, he's not like a hero that you're going to do a whole lot extra with, like a Luna, a Lena, who is going to be able to use Laguna Blade to be relied upon for damage output. Just so far as heroes who are the Scottie Pippen types, who are entirely based upon the idea of making their teammates better, I would argue that Shadow Demon is probably the top tier support in that regard. He and Rubik are right there in that tier 1 status right now, and for damn good reason. We saw in game 1 just why Rubik's there. I mean, the gigantic X factor that he brings into any match, his ability to take anything that you can do and turn it right back against you. I mean, there's that. But both Shadow Demon and Rubik really have, I won't say similar skill sets, but the way that they pan out in real time, the way that they work out in any given laning matchup or any given situation are very similar. Both heroes are more commonly than not known as defensive supports. Telekinesis, fantastic so far as making people scared to get too close to you unless they're 100% ready to commit. Again, his ability to just stay back out of the action, wait to steal a spell, and then turn it up makes it very hard to engage into a Rubik confidently. Fade Bolt with its damage reduction. It's a flat damage reduction even from just 1 point, so it can be a 1-point wonder kind of a skill. So even from very early on, Rubik has the ability to make it very scary to push or to engage when he's around, and he can just chop a ton of damage right off the top. And Shadow Demon's kind of the same way. Shadow Demon can disrupt his own teammate to make sure he keeps them safe. Disrupting the enemy, especially if it's a right-click damage dealer, can be a big problem, especially in the case of some heroes, Anti-Mage being one of them who's actually going to be banned out here. So both are kind of known as defensive supports, but both have a ton of offensive potential and can be played very aggressively so long as they are put in the proper situation with one more support and a primary damage dealer. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the flexibility and versatility of those two heroes, as different as their skill sets happen to be, and I didn't even really talk about Shadow Demons that much with Soul Catcher and Demonic Purge, but I think it's that flexibility which teams have begun to value to the point that those two supports in general, despite their generally defensive nature, they are so highly valued because they can do anything. They aren't one-trick wonders. They have a lot of flexibility in how they're going to be running lane. So taking a look at the bans on Zenith, taking out any kind of combination synergy that might have been picked up to work with the Shadow Demon, the Lina, the Leshrac, no surprise. If Lina and Leshrac are still around after a Shadow Demon comes out 9 times out of 10, you're going to see them banned just because the two very potent stuns that are Light Strike Array and Split Earth really synergize well with Shadow Demon's disruption. Teams that are of this level and on this caliber will never, ever fail to connect on that combination. So taking them out, making sure that the support pool is a little bit more thin for First Departure makes a ton of sense for Zenith. And First Departure, on the other hand, looks at Zenith Squad and says, you know what, we just want to get rid of any damage potential you have. Taking out 3 what I would label carries that peak in the mid game and into the later stages of the mid game, and still have a ton of late game potential. I mean, Luna is a fantastic late game carry. Lifestealer can hold his own, Shadow Demon can too, but really what you want with all 3 of the heroes that are banned out there from First Departure, you want them to have a very good laning phase, get off to a great start and get up 1 or 2 core items, and then you want them to start fighting early. You don't want to protect them like we saw with Morphling in Game 1. You don't want those games to go 80 minutes, or at the very least, you don't need them, even if you may want them. Gyrocopter fits into that mold as well. And I love the Gyrocopter pickup. Gyro has become one of my favorite heroes to cast, as well as to play myself and to pick whenever I'm in a situation that requires me to draft, just because of his versatility. In this situation, I don't think there's any question he will be farming. He can be played as a support, but that has really kind of fallen off a bit lately. You don't see that nearly as much as you used to. And Sven, another hero, very much in that same boat. I mean, looking at the support staff he has, I would imagine it's going to be a farming Sven, though it is very likely that Zenith could be thinking offensive tri-lane here. They could end up running the safe lane Tinker. They could even tri-lane the Rubik, the Clockwork, and the Sven. Like, that can work. And then they can mid or safe lane the Tinker, or they could just pick up another safe lane hero here. First Departure picks up another great hero that synergizes with Shadow Demon. Sand King, his stun not quite as hard to line up as a Split Earth or a Light Strike Array. But Burrow Strike going to work quite well with that. And what I love about that kind of a pickup here is it makes it very hard to confidently offensive tri-lane into First Departure if that's the way they want to go. And it also gives them the ability to offensively tri-lane. Shadow Demon leading off with a disruption and a Soul Catcher. Sand King ready to follow that up with a Burrow Strike. Gives plenty of time for Gyrocopter to isolate himself against the target hero. Use Rocket Barrage, which does an unbelievably high amount of damage. Once it is maxed out, 690 before magic resistance mitigation. Magic damage comes out of a fully maxed out Rocket Barrage. And yeah, there's potency on both sides, no doubt about it. Dragon Knight going to be the pickup here from Zenith. And Zenith they can lane this in a variety of ways. I'm really interested to see what it basically is going to be. Who do they want to prioritize? I think the Dragon Knight does kind of confound the idea of offensively tri-laning with him farming. It could very well be a Rubik Clockwork Sven offensive tri-lane with a DK solo farming the safe lane, as well as a Tinker. in mid, or they could swap. They could even swap the DK and the Tinker if they really wanted to, depending on what approach they want to try to take to this game. So options definitely open on both sides, and it's just going to come down to how they anticipate this. On the side of first departure, the Magnus usually is going to want to mid. Darkseer, certainly one of the better off-lane heroes, but they could even change that up and safe lane the Magnus, solo safe lane the Magnus if they want to, with the Darkseer going mid if they wanted to offensively tri-lane this. And it's going to come down to what I think they anticipate Zenith's lanes are going to be. They have a lane that's going to work quite well. And one thing I do like a lot about Shadow Demon and Sand King being together, and the last time I saw these two was yesterday, and I talked briefly about it, is I really like the how effective they can be early on when they roam away from the lane. So if they defensively tri-lane here, they're going to have the freedom to begin moving towards mid and applying pressure to mid. And really, there's no one on Zenith that could wind up mid here that has any decent escape mechanism to talk about, at least in the early levels. So the potential for first departure to apply pressure to mid, no matter who winds up there, is going to be there. No doubt about it. Right now, it looks like it is going to be the DK. And they are going to long lane the Clockwork, and they are going to defensively tri-lane this.
30 seconds.
A Tinker in the defensive tri-lane is not horrible, and it will be a support's Finn. As we see he's picked up the smoke, he will have Rubik supporting along with him, and the farming Tinker. But what's going to be real important for them, and if this is anticipated by first departure, I really hope they offensively tri-lane this. It will be much to their benefit, I think. Because a situation like this, Tinker needs levels to be of any real effect in the early and mid-game stages. He is a hero that, to a point, he can even be considered a carry just because of how nuts he gets, the more items that he gets in his inventory that can be spammed, just by abusing rearm, along with items like Dagon, like Scythe of Ice, allowing him to chain Hex. But one of the problems with that hero, well, I won't say the problem, just the dynamic of the hero, is the way, just because of the way that works, he not only needs the gold to have the items to do that, but it's just as important, if not more important, that he have the level so he can, for example, get to level 3 rearm. I mean, level 3 rearm is when that really comes into play. So applying pressure here, and that's what they're going to do. I love this decision. I absolutely love this decision. We'll see what they're going to do with it so far as these two supports and how much time they're going to spend here. Oh, looks like the Chinese caster is having a problem or so. I think we do. Perfect answer. And it looks like, yeah. No, I appreciate that answer. At that point, you just about have to redraft, I think. I don't think it's very fair at all after the lanes have been shown to make this happen. We see Sand King as well as the Shadow Demon both smoked up here. And this is kind of what I was driving at before we had the pause. Applying pressure to this lane makes the support stay closer by, and it makes the leveling up process a lot more difficult for the Tinker. He's already level 2, so he's okay. There's the disruption, and the Ion Shell's there. Burrow Strike is going to connect. He's still doing damage through this. They're going to stay on him. He's going to go ahead and spin March. If they can get a first blood, it'll be huge for them. He actually stopped and right-clicked a creep. He stopped and right-clicked the wrong hero. I really didn't see if he was right-clicking the creep or the Sven. He had XY dead to rights. That should have been first blood by any stretch. Holy crap. Big misstep there. Anyway, Zenith now going to go ahead and begin to stack and pull. Well, I want to see how long they intend to stay up here. Yeah, they're actually going to hang. At least one is. Shadow Demon still there. Pre-warding, or pre-runing, excuse me, being done by AMGD. Here at the top rune spot. No rune's going to be there. Will be a regen down bottom. Magnus versus DK. Didn't talk a whole lot about this. Both of these heroes should do all right here. They're both going to have plenty of magic damage they can pour on. They're both going to want rune control. But the big winner so far is going to, without a doubt, be our Gyrocopter. He is going to farm immaculately. He's going to do very well here against this Clockwork. And Clock's going to be able to spam the rocket flares to last hit, to do a little bit of harassment. But Flat Cannon just going to make it impossible for poor Clock to reliably get anywhere near there. He's actually got 2 points in the rocket barrage. Put his first point in the Flat Cannon. Now we'll see which one he wants to max. A little bit of a challenge here on the pull camp, but not a whole lot going to be done. The XP right now is actually completely in favor of Zenith. And this is working out the opposite of what I thought they should do, which is apply a lot more pressure here and try to force the supports of Zenith to stay closer by and suck away Tinker's experience. Instead, Tinker's level 4, just about to be. And we're going to have a first... That should... How did that happen? Either way, very well played by Magnus. I missed it because you expect to see a Magnus and a DK on top of each other on the minimap. But don't expect to see one killing the other. For the most part, they should have no problem staying alive against each other. Instead, Magnus puts first blood on the board. Give the early advantage to first departure. But yeah, this top lane not going as planned. And now we're going to see the supports begin to rotate out. Still just level 1 on both Sand King and Shadow Demon. And in comparison, we've got level 3 on Sven and just soon to be level 3 on Rubik. The early experience has to be going just amazingly in their favor at this point. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. And we can see the pre-warding that was already done, keeping a very close watch on these heroes from first departure. I just feel like Zenith's really just doing a better job here all around. The gold's still very close, make no mistake. And Clock's actually very low here. He should just run all the way back home. No, he's going to double back. If he's spotted, he's dead. That positioning, here we go. Disruption. Out of the Invis rune, Burrow Strike. Yep. One auto attack. No! Oh, one more. He gets him. Swinging from downtown. Able to grab him. Looked like a little bit of a lapse in communication there. And the Sand King was moving in the wrong direction when the disruption came out, but a couple of auto attacks. Able to add 1 kill to the board, and that helps Shadow Demon immensely with his experience deficit. He's going to be level 3 very soon now. Just about level 6 for our gyrocopter. And if there's one benefit Clock's had, is that he is getting his levels. So hanging in there. I'm actually surprised Gyro's not farming a bit better than he is right now. He's sitting at just 20 at 5 minutes into this game. And against a Clockwork, he should have had pretty much no problem. He's not way behind or anything, but really expected him to be doing a little bit better. As is, though, 2 kills are on the board. They both belong to first departure, so they're getting the job done. Top farmer on the board is the Tinker, so he's enjoying his tri-lane farm. And now, movement out of Sven. He is level 3. He's going to have a level 2 Stormhammer ready to use if they want to try and go on this Magnus. Holding Magnus down. Always going to be a good job. He's bottle crowing as it is. But just keeping him off the board, keeping him away from 6. Hang on, down at bottom. Clockwork going to be engaged upon again. Led with disruption. Soul Catcher's there. It's going to go ahead and use the cogs, but don't think it really much matters. Oh, no. Actually, Sand King ran into them. Oh, my God. He's going to kill him off. Sand King screws the pooch completely. All he had to do was not touch the cogs, and he would have had a Burrow Strike in 5 seconds. Instead, Clockwork takes a 3-on-1 gank, puts a kill on the board. Ice, ice, ice. Turning it around in a big way. And there's going to be a hook. He's going to solo kill Gyro. What is going on in this bottom lane? This is unbelievable. Clockwork is a headache hero. Make no mistake. He's a hero that will make you pay if you're out of position, if you make bad decisions. But how is he picking up 2 kills in a row in a 3-on-1 situation? Just insane. He's going to have Arc Boots soon. Now it looks like first departure wants to challenge this out a little bit. There's a disconnect from Sand King. So, in the meantime, we'll have a brief pause. Hope you guys are enjoying the show, at least as much as you possibly can. And one more game, TV2. Once again, sorry I was late to the party in game number 1 of this best of 3 series between Zenith and First Departure. But finally made it into Dota TV here now. We've got another series coming up later today, so make sure you don't dip out after this one. Tongfu going to be taking on Neolution Tai. That'll be at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 12:30 Central European Time, and 7:30 in the evening, Singapore time. And really just hope you guys are going to stick with us. A lot of good Dota here in the Asian qualifier for G-1 Champions League. This is Group D. And after play today, we're going to have 2 more broadcast days. And those broadcast days will be the winners of A, B, C, and D, all taking each other on, looking to advance to the next phase of this fantastic tournament that is the G-1 League. So while I'm here and I got a moment, I do want to talk about how funny it is that at some point yesterday, it just became common knowledge to many people, including a lot of major news sites, that I'm apparently moving to Korea. I talked about the fact that I was going to be moving soon. And before I knew it, I'm getting blown up with congratulations, getting blown up with everything. And I had never said anything about me moving to Korea. I said I was moving. And I was going to be moving to a better situation for Dota 2. I never said anything about Korea. Additionally, I saw Gom's little trailer. And that trailer didn't mention anything about English coverage, did it? I'm just pointing out facts. Just pointing out facts and why, among other reasons, I was pretty surprised that yesterday I began to get absolutely blown up with people talking to me in Korean, making mention of Korea, and all that fun stuff. Again, I'm just pointing out facts here. Just pointing out facts. And I am going to be moving. There is no doubt. But for right now, I'm really enjoying the spin around on the rumor mill. Rumor mill is best mill, without a doubt. And I just saw someone in the chat say SK Rage quit. That's perfect. Well done, guys. Oh, you made me laugh. I'll tell you what. I'm going to pause, or not pause. I'm going to mute my mic for just a minute, and I'll explain why when I come back. Hang on. All right, and I'm back. And I had to pause for what I can only humbly refer to as broadcaster's ear. You spend all damn day with a headset on, and your ear starts to itch something furious. And my mic makes an absolutely horrendous amount of clatter whenever I move it around too much. A very sensitive microphone. And since I have just recently switched to a headset, which I really love, by the way, I love having both my hands free. Hopefully my camera movement has improved because I'm actually using arrow keys now instead of using center mouse button drag and all that fun stuff. But I had to pause because my ear was itching so bad that I seriously couldn't stand it anymore. So hopefully you guys will forgive me. But looks like we have I don't know. I mean, we're 7 minutes in, 4 kills on the board, relatively quiet. The gold graph moving in favor of Zenith so far, as is the experience. And that's really where first departure's hurting. I can't believe what Ice did down here. I'm still just dumbfounded, bamboozled by the fact that he turned a 2-on-1 gank into a kill because Sand King smacked his beaver tail into the cogs twice, as well as the fact that he managed to get a return kill on a gyrocopter after the fact. I mean, really good Dota, really good play. But still, pretty damn dumbfounding. We still have time. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the chat. This is something I usually don't do, especially since we're on delay and all that. But, yeah, no. Since we can, I will just take a look at the chat. Let's see. Oh, man. Apologizing. Orvarv says, stop apologizing for sucky internet. This is what I'm going to do, by the way. This is going to be my new policy whenever I solo cast. I'm going to treat long pauses like this like rain delays. This is going to be like rain delay in Major League Baseball and what we used to do whenever I broadcasted baseball when I worked in radio. If there's a rain delays usually take an hour or two, but you usually still play the game. So what do? You have a call-in show, man. You have a call-in talk show right there on the spot. And that's what I'm going to be having now. So you guys are on a 2-minute delay if you're listening, if you happen to be listening via One More Game TV too. If you got a question, you got a comment, go ahead and drop it. I'm officially looking at the chat and will be until I hear the unpaused countdown. So, let's see. Why did I get a new mic? Asks Dvoraki. To free my hands up, basically. The other mic I use is a high-quality condenser mic. It is a USB condenser mic, which means the audio quality is really good, but not perfect. It's not like 100% studio grade, but it's very close. But the problem with it is, to run a mic like that effectively, you have to have things like a shock mount, you need to have a windscreen, a pop screen, and you need to have it in front of you. To run a mic like that, the amount of pickup it has is ridiculous. So whenever you heard me broadcasting with my old microphone, it was actually at like 12% volume. And if it was over 20%, it was basically just spiking like crazy. So, but you have to have it right up under your mouth. And you have to be able to talk right into it. And the end result is I have this setup of a shock mount, a pop screen on a stand right in front of me. And there was no way for me to effectively do anything but use the mouse for everything I did in Dota, basically. Like, my left hand was good to look at the gold graph and to switch between the graphs at the top left. But outside of that, like, the idea of being able to comfortably use my left hand and move it from there to the arrow keys to do camera work was just not a reality. And my camera work suffered because of it. I would say one of my worst features as a Dota 2 broadcaster was the fact that my camera work was middling at best because I had to use center mouse button drag. And now, though, I've got all this room for activities. I've got room for activities in front of me. And I can use the arrow keys very, very easily. And, yeah, hopefully it makes for a better viewing experience for you guys. And the other reason is I do intend to be spending more time on camera very soon. I intend to, outside of whatever other situations I might find myself in that will have me on camera, I intend to be, for personal streams and smaller scale streams, I fully intend to be using, or to be on camera more often. And I couldn't really do that when I had a mic set up obscuring half of my face. So that's where we are. And I invested a decent chunk of money into a new headset microphone, very nice Sennheiser set, and picked up the various other pieces of equipment that you need to make a headset like this sound passable in a broadcast setting. And here we are. So there, I answered your question. Ayesee, can I get a shout out? Asks Justin Harden. You certainly can. I'm glad to see you casting this. Glad you're enjoying. Rabs858 says he loves the cast after he's back from the gym, so thank you. Let's see. Comment, I guess. You cast sports. Do you have the right voice for it? CS Mikilo. CSM Chiquilo. There we go. Asks me what I broadcasted before. I broadcasted, I mean, if you name it, I did it. I broadcasted baseball, basketball, and football all at different times, at different levels. And, I mean, it was never like anything big. It's not like I broadcasted for the Braves or anything. But regional stuff, local stuff, you know how it goes. Also did voice work for stuff like beauty pageants. You know the guys who whenever at the beauty pageants, like local level especially, the guys who read off, it's like, and now we have Tiara McCarley, who happens to, she's a 18-year-old looking to be a pediatrician when she graduates from college next year. I was that guy. But I did it with a bit more personality, I would say. Still had to read the stupid little sheets, but, pays the bills. So I did that. I was a radio DJ. I did drive time and nights. Did a little bit of talk as well. And had a lot of fun with it. It was a lot of fun. And who knows? I say who knows. I left radio to work in esports. Well, no, that's a lie. I left radio to open a business. Then I sold my business and came to esports. That was the chain of events. I could have gone back to radio after selling my business and decided to work in esports. So in a manner of speaking, I opted for esports over radio. And very happy with my choice of career. Let's see. Am I married? No, I'm not. I was once engaged. I was engaged in my mid-20s. I'm 28 years old now. I was engaged around the age of 23, and it didn't pan out. I dodged a bullet, and here I am. So there's that. What do I think of CW's skill build right now? Let's see. Oh, hang on. We are going to be back underway, so I'll take a look at that momentarily. I happen to bring the screen back up at just the right time. So we are going to, hang on, RP going to connect. That's going to catch 2 from Zenith. Magnus making his way up. Tinker's there to get 1 kill. And now, will he be able to get 1? They at least go 2 for 1. Could have been a lot worse. Haste rune out of the Dragon Knight. Allows them to turn that around, making a 2 for 1 exchange. Zenith, for the first time this game, takes the lead in terms of kills. They're up 4 to 3. Gyrocopter continuing to farm. Added a Sage's Mask to his inventory. We'll see exactly what he wants to do with that as we move forward. But, anyway, Tinker is going to be rushing out his boots of travel. No surprise there. Hang on. Disruption here in mid. They want to try to get a return kill on the Dragon. Skewered back. Very good skewer. Should be a dead to rights Dragon Knight. He's got help coming, though. He's going to blow his ult. There's Clockwork, and the cogs go down. Are you kidding me? So innately tanky, they just can't drop him in time. And now, they may go ahead and try. Yeah, I mean, he's hanging around. There's the hook. If that hook connects, it's a return kill for sure. Here comes Finn, and the Stormhammer connects. Peace out, Magnus. Second time in as many minutes, he's died. And a disaster right now. Look at the cog damage that comes out of Ice. It is just insane how well Zenith is playing in this game, in this second game. And to be blunt, a lot of it's due to individual performances. I mean, they're moving well as a team. But Ice is playing one of the better early game Clockworks I've ever seen. And he's being helped out by a lot of mistakes that are being made by the enemy team. Like, how often do you see this? A gyro running from a Clockwork. The creeps are there, so he actually drops down the cogs. The creeps were there, so he couldn't rely on Rocket Barrage. Now another TP's in. That's going to be Tinker. Tinker's going to be spotted out by the creep wave. In the meantime, Sven has taken to farming top, at least for the moment. He'll be solo one-on-one with the Darkseer for the foreseeable future. DK back up against the Magnus. You know, it's been so long since I've seen a professional player who didn't have a DK skin that I've almost forgotten what DK looks like by default. Like, literally. Does he have anything on? Oh, he does have shoulders on. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Seriously, it's had to have been forever since I saw a DK that wasn't completely kitted out in a professional game. But anyway, 3 to 5. Zenith maintains the kill lead. They maintain a golden experience lead as well. We can see how close it actually was for a long time. Well, I guess as soon as I said that, it's because of the long-ass pause. Anyway, we're going to have another Disruption Bro Strike to follow it up. Here comes TP Reaction, though. Breathe Fire doing good damage. There's Rocket Spam as well. Shockwave does a little return damage. Hook, he goes for it on the Sand King. He's going to go ahead and go right into the Sandstorm. Here comes the TP Reaction. That's going to be Gyro. March of the Machines makes them very, very loath to re-engage back across that river. So they hold on pulling the trigger quite wisely. Our Gangsta Rubik running around in his hoodie, looking like he's about ready to rob a liquor store. I love that skin, but it is hilarious because it is a Gangsta Rubik. He's going to be joined up, though, by his posse, his boys, his gang, heading that way. As he's got Sven now picking up with him and Clockwork. 2 have also showed up on the side of First Departure. XY has taken to farming bottom. He's got a Sage's Mask of his own on top of his Boots of Travel, which are done. He's going to be taking some abuse from the Flag Cannon. Ring of Aquile, the pickup on Gyrocopter, so going with the more stable build. What's going to be the first interesting item choice we see out of him is going to be if he decides to build survivability or damage. Is he going to get a BKB very quickly? Or is he going to hold off on that and go something like a Shadow Blade? Drum Shadow Blade is becoming more and more popular on Gyro. I'm seeing it more and more often in a lot of games. Shadow Blade in particular, not always with drums, but the drums just tend to give him some stat gain, keep him a little bit more survivable without the full investment of a BKB. Because usually if you go something like a Shadow Blade, Shadow Blade BKB, like, You just don't see that often. If somebody's going to build a Shadow Blade on a gyro, they're usually just going to forego the BKB entirely. So going something like Shadow Blade drums. Hold that thought. Disruption here on the DK mid. There's the follow-up bro strike. There's the hook, though, and now the shockwave's there. He's got an RP ready if he wants it. He doesn't. We've already got one down, soon to be two. Tinker there to help clean thing up. And Zenith. I'll tell you what, man. People who watch Cowboy Bebop, you're going to get this, man. Zenith is taking the momentum and the energy that First Departure is putting into these gank attempts and very calmly, fluidly turning it against them. They're doing it over and over again. Zenith is not having to extend at all, let alone overextend. Zenith is doing nothing but taking what they are given. And they're executing it. Every time there's an opening, they're taking the most of it. And that has led to a pretty impressive lead so far. 8-3 in terms of kills. That gold is actually up to 4,000. And in excess of 6,000 experience now. 4,000 gold's not the be-all, end-all, but at 12 minutes into the game, that's actually a pretty rough deficit to be in. Given that the situation should have favored, except for, I mean, the experience is a little bit more understandable because you've had so much movement out of the Sand King and the Shadow Demon in particular. But the gold in particular, I mean, they should be in a much better position. They had a free farming Gyrocopter, and then they had a Darkseer, who should have had no problem getting his farm. Even in a bad situation, Darkseer should get his farm once he gets a couple of points in Ion Shell. And then a Magnus, who should have had next to no problem farming against the DK. Sven now trying to play catch-up. He's actually picked himself up a Quelling Blade as well. And has next to nothing other than treads, though. He may end up going for an armlet, or even a set of drums for himself. In the meantime, Ice has picked up some Arc Boots, and we've actually got a Claymore in the inventory of NWP. Is he actually going to build a Shadow Blade? Is that really what he's going to do? I have to wait and see. Meantime, Tinker doing what Tinker does. Soul Ring plus Boots of Travel means no lane is safe from our short little guy wearing the skirt. Gyrocopter, 2,500 gold in his bank, is yet to make his item choice. Wait to see if it's going to be a full BKB or if he is just going to pick up a full Shadow Blade all at once. Yep, he built a Shadow Blade. We have a Shadow Blade on a DK. Never seen this. Sure it happens. Sure it has happened in Asian Dota before, but I don't normally cast Asian Dota, okay? So, for the first time, it's my chance to see it. And the Gyro getting into that territory. We'll see here in about 300 gold what he's going to pick up. Shadow Blades aplenty. It would seem he is going to go BKB first. I like that. I think it's a lot more stable. Talk about that all the time. And here we go. Magnus is going to be stunned. Dragon Tail, Breathe Fire, Rocket Spam, Peace Out. Oh no! The hook unable to connect in time to let him get the cogs down. He's going to just TP away now. That should have been a kill. So a bit of a misstep. Shockwave stolen by Rubik. Very good spell to have stolen in this situation. And now looking to go ahead and track down some more targets in the Radiant side jungle. That's two very under-leveled supports and a Gyrocopter who is sans BKB for the moment. So this is a real opportunity. Cog's going to go down. There's a disruption. At least for the moment. And let's see if they want to go for it.
Do it with flair.
Flair going to spot them out. Yep, and there's not a whole lot you can do against that. The pure magic damage spam that is coming out of Zenith right now is just insane. And I do mean just insane. Breathe Fire, Fade Bolt, the maxed out Fade Bolt at that. And yeah, I mean, this is beginning to look like it's going to spiral out of control. And Gyro didn't manage to make it to safety, so at least he gets to continue his farm. That BKB going to be of a huge importance to him. Because of what I was talking about. When you're talking about just the pure spam damage that can come out, hold that thought. We're going to see Ice drop his cogs. We got a Magnus and a Gyro making a run for it. Zenith is going to abandon that pursuit, but they do take a tier 1 in bottom in the meantime. But, I mean, let's just run down the line. Sven with Stormhammer, Rubik with a maxed out Fade Bolt, maxed out Breathe Fire for DK, Rocket Spam out of the Clockwork, and Tinker with rockets plus laser plus March of the Machines. Like, basically, they don't even need right-click damage right now. They've got enough just pure ability damage that they can just about melt First Departure at any given moment. And we'll be keeping an eye. And, you know, I really like the fact that NWP picked up a Shadow Blade, as bizarre as it is for me to see. Just because it helps shore up one of the things they're lacking, which, again, is that right-click damage. They have a ton of ability damage, but their right-click damage is hurting right now. With the Sven not very well farmed, and the DK, though, picking up the Shadow Blade. Just guarantees that, hey, he's going to be able to reliably do some burst in terms of just pure physical damage. So Rubik does deny that top tower. BKB is officially completed on Gyrocopter, as he did go ahead and get the recipe. Now made his way into his inventory. That'll help a lot, but again, I just feel like that's anticipated by Zenith. And they definitely want to fight early. This is one way you can tell that a DK really wants to fight a lot very early on. We're going to have Clockwork spot out Shadow Demon. And yep, there's the hook. He's got a little bit of health back, but he's blocking any path of escape. That's so dead. Disruption's there. Now the BKB's going to be up. Good vacuum right into the call down, though. Freedom should end up dead. Shadow Demon traded for Sven. Now the Rocket Barrage doing good damage. And the follow-up Burrow Strike will lock down Ice. That's going to be a dead Clockwork as well. And not a moment too late. First Departure manages to put together a nice team win that they really needed, using that BKB on the gyro. And that's what I was talking about, it being a lot more stable. Here we go, though. Here's Dragon Knight. He's just going to try to blow him up. Yep, there we go. One down. Now he can pursue him out. Nope, not even going to try for it. But yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. And what I mentioned earlier, didn't really get a chance to get into it, was one way you can tell if a DK really wants to fight early, is he'll take a point in a second point into Elder Dragon form at level 11. A lot of times you'll see Dragon Knights skip that. They don't feel like they get enough out of the splash damage until they have a lot of core items up. But by taking that second point, they push a lot quicker now. They're able to do a lot more damage in an AoE. And he's able to just contribute a lot more to fights. He's going to be going for a BKB of his own. He's got enough gold for the Mithril Hammer right now. And just about 800 gold away from completing the BKB in Toto. Zenith's going to smoke up in mid in the meantime. They're going to move through the Radiant side jungle. Look to find themselves a pick. Roshan, obviously, could be a target if they're able to get a good pick here. There is a Sentry Ward here, though. So that Sentry Ward should spot this out, no problem. And yeah, they see it. And here we go. All Gyro caught out all by his lonesome, cleaned up completely. And, well, soon to be cleaned up completely. Down he goes. And now with Gyro down, he's down for 47 seconds. He does not have buyback. I'm actually surprised. And this is one thing I can and will point out as a major difference between Asian Dota and North American European Dota that I've seen. Situation like that, Zenith this far ahead, they pick off the main carry who doesn't have buyback. If this is a North American or European team, this right here is the target. Roshan. They have complete map control. They've got total ward dominance. They have vision. And the main damage dealer, the only person who can really do any reliable damage on the side of First Departure at this stage of the game, is he's down. So I'm a little dumbfounded as to why Roche is not being attempted. But such is life. Such is the different styles, and why I'm very much enjoying casting some Asian Dota, stepping out of my comfort zone and doing more of this. There's going to be a skewer in Ice. Oh, you poor man. He got the haste rune in. Yeah, that's a little bit of a middle finger tossed out. He does have a TP. Okay. So he's ready to roll, but still, very cheeky little maneuver there from AMGD. Or excuse me, from Polosoon, I should say. I just realized that I've been calling some of these players AMGD the entire game because they're doing it wrong. Your name doesn't come first. Your name goes after the sponsor name. There's going to be a good skewer. That's going to catch Tinker, and he will be picked off in return, so he's down for 50 seconds. And buyback is available if he really wants it. Taking a look at the net worth, we can see the top two belonging to Zenith. No real surprise. 3 of the top 5, though, are on the side of First Departure, so they're holding their own as best as they can. DK completely outclassing the rest of the field, though, to the tune of 2,500 or more in terms of pure net worth. He actually picked himself up a set of arc boots. I don't mind that. I've seen it once or twice. Given his build, he's going to be spamming a lot. And usually you'll see a soul ring instead of a set of arc boots. But, I mean, obviously arc boots serve the purpose too. And by skipping soul ring, you just go ahead and open up the chance to get that shadow blade up a little bit earlier. And he can always buy a set of treads later if he really, really wants to. 22 minutes in, 20 kills on the board. Bit more of an active game compared to game one. Not quite as much downtime. The gold still very much in favor of Zenith. The experience, 7,500 in their favor is... Excuse me, in their favor as well. XY has picked up his Blink Dagger, so he's going to be feeling quite mobile. And usually when you see a Blink Dagger come out this early on a Tinker, it usually indicates he's going to want to Scythe of Ice next. There are a variety of ways you can build a Tinker, of course. And some players opt to get the Blink Dagger much later. They instead want to get up any number of items, be it a Dagon or, hell, even an early Shivas. A lot of players love to prioritize the Shivas just because of how quickly and efficiently it allows them to split push lanes. But the Blink Dagger choice first looks like it's going to be a Force Staff on Ice as well. I think we can expect to see a Scythe of Ice come out on him relatively soon. Up at top, looks like we're going to have a, what imagine a Yi? Well, I don't know. He's got the Band of Elven skin. And could be on his way to a Yasha. Ooh, I mean, Manta is a nice choice on a gyrocopter if you want to, obviously the damage, the move speed, but just the initials, the innate survivability that being able to Manta out of things can grant you. And Zenith, though, beginning to shake their fist a little bit here at bottom lane. It's going to free up mid, though, and Gyrocopter quite happy to go ahead and apply some pressure there. And now laying into the tier 2 and bottom. Shockwave kind of making him think twice. Still going to continue to attack here, though. And tier 1 still actually has not dropped either. Both teams kind of dancing around the issue right now. Most first departure has now gathered in bottom. And we'll see if there's going to be a fight. Looks like both teams kind of want to take a fight here. Tinker's going to go ahead, TP back home, refill the mana. Going to be 60 seconds until Elder Dragon form is back up for NWP. XY continues to do his thing. He's got his ultimate orb, so yeah, Scythe of Ice, one would think, is going to be the item choice. And Zenith now going to go ahead and begin to spam down the wave here. They spend everything at once. Stormhammer, Fade Bolt, Breathe Fire, as well as rockets. And they're going to go for it. And no contesting of this at all out of first departure. Just going to let it go.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Now again, this is a situation where I feel like taking a shot at Roche wouldn't be bad. They have total map control. There's no way for them to teleport in easily, or first departure to teleport in easily. But instead, looks like they're going to avoid it for now. Tier 1 mid and Tier 1 and 2 bottom both gone. Feel like they could take a shot there. Instead, opting to just go back to farming. 3,000 gold in the inventory of NWP. Magnus moving undercover of an Invis rune, looking for a target. Might find two. Might find Freedom and Ice, Ice, Ice. Nope, gonna dip back down through the river for the moment. And XY just continuing to be a tinker. Tinker's gonna tinker, man. They're gonna spam March, they're gonna get 1,000,000 gold, and they're gonna get a full inventory. Now, first departure moving. Basically, he's been moving as 5 almost this entire time. Zenith's actually going to smoke up here. And they're going to loop around. Try to find themselves a target. 2 spotted out here in mid, and they may go straight into Roche. Yep, they're going to go for it. Reaver picked up on NWP. Looks like my good buddy God's having trouble with his mic, but hopefully all is well. Roshan down to about half health. And yeah, no real way for first departure to respond to this now. Roshi to quarter health, and just these two alone able to bring him down. Sven is actually caught up in items quite admirably, adding a set of drums to his inventory. It's just because of the way the God Strength works. He's going to have level 2 God Strength very soon, too.
Roshan has fallen to
Aegis picked up. So he's going to be doing enough damage. And this is a very right timing window for Zenith if they want to try to hit it. 26 minutes in. Not a ton of items out on the side of First Departure right now. They spotted the BKB. Yasha's now done. Manta basically going to be complete right now if Gyro wants it. But as soon as Sven hits level 11, yep, he is level 11. So level 2 God Strength, it's going to be off cooldown. They've got the Aegis. This is the kind of timing window where if they hit it and get a good win, they could not only take a set of racks, but almost close this game out. We see buyback already being banked across the board. Magnus has his Blink Dagger and a set of Arcs has 3,100 gold. And Gyro holding onto his gold for the moment. And they're just slowly beginning to exert their dominance on this side of the river. Trying to bait out a misstep from First Departure. Trying to find any opening that they can be given. Tinker's rejoined up here in mid. And First Departure beginning to move into what could potentially be considered enemy territory. We see that they've got 2 wards up here. One from each side up. Hang on, we're going to have a Dragon's Tail land here. Gyro has not used his BKB yet. There, he's going to be mexed up. Mexed up, I should say. The Aegis still has quite a bit of time on it. Still about 4 minutes, so no reason for them to rush here whatsoever. Mech done quite some time ago on Darkseer. Has his Hood of Defiance on his way to a pipe now. And just very slowly whittling this tier 2 tower down. Clockwork is hanging in the wings, though. Waiting in the wings. Looking for a hook.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
First Departure, for the moment, continues to hold the line. Very methodical in the way that Zenith is trying to play this out. Tinker going to go ahead, spam out bottom wave once again. While NWP decides he's just going to go back to farming. Already has up his Reaver. We'll see if he's going to decide to turn that into a Heart or into a Satanic. I actually would really prefer a Heart in this situation. Game number 1, I feel like one of the big mistakes that was made on the Morphling, played by First Departure, was they built a Heart on him instead of a Satanic. I feel like if they had picked up a Satanic, then their chances for victory would have dramatically improved. But, as is, we're going to have this tier 1 being threatened. A little bit of rocket spam, forcing them back. Magnus is right there, along with the rest of his team. Here comes DK. He's level 16. There's the hook. The hook. He hooks and hits DK, but Sven's there. BKB's going to be popped and chasing down Magnus as well. Call down's going to connect and going to do some slowing. But the slow from his Elder Dragon form goes through BKB. Don't forget that. Oh, one more auto attack need to be done. Clockwork's there. Now Magnus going to skewer and skewer the Clockwork back. SK can't do anything but watch. He's just level 8. Really in no shape to fight. Good blink from Magnus. Gets him back to safety. That's 2-0 at the trade. And Zenith going to look to take the tier 2 here. 46 seconds until Gyro is back up and ready to fight. Gyro does not have buyback. He does not have buyback. So if they bring this down quick enough, racks could be their prize. They're going to have Epicenter level 1, as well as a reverse polarity to worry about. They're actually going to pull back. They may just go ahead and take the last remaining outer tier tower from First Departure. That looks to be the plan. Yep, that's what they're going to do. Don't mind that a bit. Feel like they could have taken a shot at Rax, though. Don't know that there's a whole lot that Shadow Demon, Sand King, and Magnus could have done to stop them.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
TP reaction is going to come out. Or, excuse me, no, that was actually Tinker. Tinker being Tinker. And down that tower goes. The rest of the team is up from Zenith now. The Aegis still has some time on NWP. Heart is now complete on him. Again, I like that choice a lot. He's going to have 30 seconds, so not enough time to do a lot with that Aegis. They may go ahead and try to force at least a split here. And Tinker will be bouncing between top and bottom lane, at least temporarily. Rest of Zenith kind of hanging out for the moment. Gyro did complete his Manta style. 1,200 gold in the bank. And first departure, they have, you know, a number of things going for them. But the biggest thing they have going for them is how scary they are to push into. Reverse polarity, epicenter, vacuum wall, that and call down. I mean, just think about how, if they are able to land all of that, just think of how that's going to, I mean, how crippling that's going to be. Even with a BKB up on 1, the rest of DK could easily find himself in a situation where all of that goes off, and he finds himself standing all by his lonesome. Still not ready to abandon this top lane. Elder Dragon Form pop, they're going to rush it. Here we go. Moving right on up, he's going to get right on the tower. Sit there for the moment, marching the machine's going to make it hard to engage in. Now here they come. There's the skewer back. Now they're going to try and fight it out behind the tower. Mech is there, but the call down will connect. BKB being used, and Dragonite having a hard time moving around. What did he get? He got Rocket Barrage. Magnus forced to buy back, who didn't use reverse polarity. Magnus skewered him back and died immediately. A tier 3 sitting at half health. The buyback already forced. Tinker's going to show up, ready to hang out with the rest of his team. They may just wait out the ultimates again. God Strength is available on Sven if he wants it. And yeah, they're going to fall back and farm. 32 minutes into this game, the gold graph pretty heavily in Zenith's favor. No surprise there. 14,000. 12,000 experience, but again, remaining very methodical in their approach to trying to end this game, to close this game out. Roche will be back up in about 4 minutes, give or take. Sven, again, at this stage, doing enough damage that he's a factor that has to be considered. Just level 1 epicenter on Sand King. Again, owed to how poor of a start he had. Poor Lubby has just been struggling massively. Got behind in levels early and never really had a big chance to put it back together. Love the blade mail pickup on Ice Ice Ice. He's got the mech and the blade mail. This makes him that much more of a liability to try to deal with. DK has already added a Hyperstone to his inventory as well. So, I mean, it's the problem really that First Departure is facing is a gyrocopter. Like right now is when gyrocopter is actually a little bit weak. And the reason is, early on, he gets by with the pure amount of damage he can pour on with Rocket Barrage. Call down stays very strong, and he's level 18, so he's got level 3 call down. But he doesn't have the flak cannon that is just melting Zenith down, because he hasn't built a pure damage item yet. And very often you see this happen. Now they're going to be laying into the racks after the tier 3 drops. And there's Ice Ice Ice. We're gonna have a Hex Good vacuum wall though. BKB is gonna be popped. Cogs go down. He's gonna avoid walking through the wall. Once again, they back out. Once again, they retreat out. Vacuum wall combination now gonna be on cooldown for about a minute. And once again, they just pull back and look for another opening. They're gonna be able to take another Roche fight soon if they want. 2 minutes to go till the big boy respawns. The net worth, DK and Tinker tops on the board. Gyro's not far away. But back to what I was talking about is going something like a Tranquil Boots Aqualay BKB. Very typical, very stable way to build a gyrocopter. And it tends to work out really well so long as it's a close game. The problem is that, you know, the skill set that you rely on if you're a gyrocopter to make you a big threat in the early and mid-game phases revolves predominantly around Rocket Barrage and around Call Down. Flat Cannon's awesome at all stages of the game, make no mistake. But when Flat Cannon really has its heyday, it's in the late game. Once you have a decent amount of damage built. And I mean, he's not like he's hitting for feather taps here. With Empower, he's hitting for 240. So that's considerable in and of itself. But keep in mind, when he blows his BKB, Empower goes bye-bye. So, without one big damage item in his inventory, an MKB or something along those lines, this is actually a point of weakness for Gyro, because when he gets behind anyway, whenever the other team is ahead as much as Zenith is, because the supports all have items to tank them up. They all have more health. They all have more survivability. They all have the ability to get away, be it because of a Force Staff, a Blink Dagger, and what have you. So, He's going to be banking money to make sure he has buyback in case he needs it, but he really needs a damage item right now. He really needs to have himself an MKB or a Daedalus or, hell, a Rapier even. Might be a little early for a Rapier. Don't feel like he's really survivable enough to justify that. But Gyro is one of those heroes that you build a Rapier on him, I really don't mind it at all. Like, I don't hate seeing a Rapier come out on a Gyrocopter pretty much ever. So long as you have a BKB and you have lifesteal. If you have those two things handled, then Rapier's fine. So I would think Gyro would be aiming for, if he does end up with a Rapier in his inventory, he would be aiming, yeah, he is going to get a Demon Edge, so still not a whole lot to take away from that. Could be an MKB, could be a Daedalus, could be a Rapier. But, at any rate, he's going to want probably one more item plus a Satanic before he even thinks about a Rapier to be stable. He's got 3,000 gold in the bank. Taking a look at buyback status, we can see he's ready to go. Tinker ready to buy back. We got 5 on the board that can buy back, so half the field. And 2 of them belonging to each team. 3, however, on the side of Zenith. That's what we want, net worth. But, pretty solid game so far. This guy's been quiet. Poor Lubby, who gave up one of the silliest deaths I've seen in a long time. Dying to that clockwork. Since then, he just has not been the same. Dragon Knight has completed his Assault Cuirass, by the way. And he's just out of control. I mean, he's almost fully built. He can eventually sell off that Shadow Blade if he really wants to. But for the most part, he's done so. Outside of just saving for buyback. Dagon was picked up on Tinker, so his damage output's going to be there. He's level 19, level 3 rearm. And he's actually already upgraded it to level 2. And I just feel like First Departure, as well as they played in Game 1 and showed us one of the more exciting games of Dota I've casted in quite some time, as well as they played, I really feel like they've come up short here. They've just been outclassed. And here we go. They're going to rush the Tier 3. No ult used yet on the DK. Happy to just swing away with his sword in human form. March of the Machines makes it so hard to confidently come out and try to deal with this. Glyph has already been used. And Pipe's going to be popped. Here we go. They're going to go for it. Vacuum in. The wall not following it up. There's Demonic Purge. And he's going to use Shadow Blade. Yeah, he just made them use a lot for relatively nothing. He's just standing there under cover of Shadow Blade. Rocket Spam. Going to give them some vision. And First Departure holding the line as best they can. Zenith, though, playing very patient. Again, very methodical Dota. Tinker upgrading his Dagon once again. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage. Level 3 Dagon now. 600 damage per shot with the level 3 Dagon. They're going to rush back up. There goes the melee racks. And at this point, I mean, here we go. Hook's going to connect. That's going to catch the Shadow Demon. He's going to disrupt himself to try and buy some time. Wall goes down, and DK walks through it. Has yet to use his ult, but the Blade Mail making it hard for them to fight right now. Here comes Magnus. Magnus has done nothing. He has a Force Staff even to allow him much better opportunities for RPs. The damage output in all forms, though, is just way too high. Daedalus was the pickup on the Gyrocopter. But see, this is one of those weird situations. Like, they basically let this go without a fight. I mean, they tried to resist as best they could, but they played back and all that. If you're giving up one set of racks, it's almost time to GG already. Like, you've got to be willing to spend the reverse polarity. I mean, this game is not going to get any closer, or you're not going to really help your chances at all by not feeding 5 because you let your racks go. You're better off just feeding 5, and then if the racks goes afterwards, then you say GG. That just makes a lot more sense. But anyway, here we go. They're going to catch DK. Good skewers there for Staff as well, but he's just going to turn and fight it out. Pipes pop. There's Side Device. Going to be disrupted. Vacuum brings 2 together, but no follow-up. They want to try to fight this out. DK has his ulti if he wants it. Still has the Aegis if he wants as well. Fighting in March of the Machines. Just melting away at the health, and they're having so much trouble bringing NWP back using that Shadow Blade. Manages to get down to 50 hit points by the time all's said and done. But that's why you buy a heart. Because in about 30 seconds, he's going to be back to full health. Only way that's going to happen for First Departure is if they go sit in the well.
There it goes.
Tinker is up to a level 4 Dagon. Level 4 Dagon. He is going to hurt a lot. A lot. 8-17. We've got 25 kills in a 41-minute game, and Zenith beginning to look like they're ready to shut the door on this best of 3. First departure looking to try and extend their chances. There's a blink out, a tip and skewer follow-up hook from Ice. He's going to force staff away. And now, vacuum call down. Right together, not doing a lot of damage though. Follow-up from Sven. BKB has been popped. They managed to kill one off. NWP gonna run for it. And I don't know why NWP's running here. This doesn't make any sense to me. He's letting his supports get cleaned up when he has an Aegis. This is just silly. I'm just gonna call it what it is. That was goofy. He's gonna lose his Aegis here. Freedom is most likely dead. And this is likely to be a free Aegis for first departure. BM. BM, Ice. BM. Anyway. We are going to be back underway. Aegis will be popped almost certainly. Yep, there it goes. But now they're going to try to re-engage. There's an RP. Spin catches 2. Skewer's going to be there if they're ready. Gyro continuing to lay into the Tinker. DK back up off the Aegis. And Gyro will actually die to the damage of the March of the Machines. But again, that was a lot of there were deaths there that didn't need to happen. NWP had his supporting cast there and they were extended. And I'm really just not entirely sure why he didn't stand and fight. He decided to run back and leave his supports basically to die. If he had stood and fought, done some damage, and then just came back up off the Aegis while his supports were all fighting, I feel like they could have probably taken a win there. As is, though, first departure extends this game. Goal graph. Oh, I mean, when you're 20,000 in the hole, there's almost no way to go but up if you take a win. They've cut it to 10,000 experience, so they got that going for them, at the very, very least. But for right now, first departure trying their best to hang in this game. The damage output on the Gyro has gone up considerably. At this point, one would think he'd be looking to get some lifesteal, put together a Helm of the Dominator, and build that right into a Satanic. The Aegis now frees up the spot on NWP. We'll see what he's going to do. He's going to just hang on to the Shadow Blade and bank for buyback. That would make the most sense, really. Only Magnus has buyback available right now. Everyone else has either buyback or too poor. Take a look at Sven. He's added a Ghost Scepter, which is an interesting pickup for him. It makes him a very much a liability. And this is a true hybrid Sven build. He started as a more or less just pure support. Built drums, which is, I mean, drums it can be a support item too, so it's not so much that it's like, oh, he built drums, so obviously he's semi-carry now. It's not that. Just the way the hero works. Opting to build the drums on him instead of somebody else allows him to spam Stormhammer and Warcry much more comfortably. And then just because of the damage he's going to be getting off of God Strength, you add the Ghost Scepter in, and now you really want to try to get him out of a fight, and you don't want to just give one person that job. You want to try and take Sven out of a fight early on. If you can manage to do so, obviously that's a lot of damage that he would normally be able to do that you're not going to have to worry about. But the Ghost Scepter makes that much more difficult now. And he's going to be able to hang around in these fights much longer than he would otherwise. Take a look at the Sand King. He's got a Blink Dagger up finally, and he finally has level 2 Epicenter. Poor guy sitting at level 12. It has not been a fun game for him. Yeah, level 12, level 9 for Shadow Demon. Those two guys in particular have really been struggling. Rubik and Sven and Clockwork pretty low as well. Net worth, still very much in favor of the DK in terms of pure value. And he is going to be getting an MKB, it would seem. He's added the Javelin to his inventory. Or one Javelin, I should say. So has plenty enough gold for buyback if he wants and needs it. And he will be eligible. Yeah, he is eligible now. So, looking for just pure damage.
Boom, there it goes.
And this tier 3 bottom. Gonna be the target. Top set of racks obviously cleared out a while ago. A little bit of rocket spam. Doing a lot of damage to Shadow Demon. And DK showing his face. Has actually completed his MKB now. Now, what this is going to allow him to do, and I talked about this in game 1, is when he does go into his Elder Dragon form, he can siege this tower from the low ground without having any mischance now that he's added the MKB. That's to say nothing besides the obvious. But, you know, the damage as well. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have that extra 80-plus damage that you can bank on. And here we go. Force staffed in. Oh, beautiful chain of abilities. Now the re-engagement from the Clockwork. He's caught one. Disruption's there. Magnus forced to buy back yet again. Darkseer will be cleaned up. He buys back immediately as well. And we can see Dagon, level 5 on this Tinker, just murdering people. So hard to deal with. And the range on Dagon is easy to underestimate. It actually has some pretty decent range on it. Yep, and now as anticipated, sieging from the low ground. Clockwork using the Ghost Scepter, just trying to zone them out. Down the tower goes. Gonna beat his way out. Now the RP, though, gonna catch a couple. Can they follow it up? They're gonna get one, but with the Blade Mail up, a lot of damage done in exchange. Epicenter goes off and does next to nothing. Just no real target around for him to hit with the BKB up on the DK. And this game appears to be reaching its final stages. Should be a GG coming soon, as the second set of racks does drop. There's still outer tier towers up for Zenith, by the way. Oh, good disruption out of Endlessly. But Zenith ready to put an exclamation point on this game. 13 to 22. The gold right at 20, 15,000 experience. The deficit, both sets of racks down. They could go do Roche if they want. They don't really even need to worry. They don't even really need to. And first departure, going to continue to hang in. Not willing to tap the GG quite yet. Tinker with a Ghost Scepter of his own. He's basically got a full inventory. He could sell that Soul Ring if he wants to add something else eventually. In the meantime, though, Zenith going to be picking up an Aegis. Vlad's going to be the next pickup on Freedom. I really like seeing a Sven built this way. I don't really like a pure carry Sven, but they are doing everything they can to not just make him a support with the stun and with a really cool ability in Warcry. A really cool buff, I should say. But the way they're building him with the Vlads and with the drums just makes him all around, you know, semi-carry, sure, you can call him that. I think it's more of a hybrid. And working out really well for them. And this is something I expect to see more teams do in the future in North America and Europe. And it's something that I've even talked to Draskell about whenever we see a Sven picked up in the D2L or any other event we cast, is the support Sven. I mean, for a while, that's all he was. Then you saw him enter that carry mode whenever he was just mauling people. After his buff, then they nerfed Daedalus and nerfed him a bit. And now he's kind of back to half the time support. Once in a while, he's a carry. But this hybrid approach, I feel like, is something that a lot of North American and European teams could learn from and could run a lot more often, because they're getting the best of both worlds out of it. But anyway, 50 minutes in. And Zenith looking again to close this game out.
Rock it on.
Both sets of racks down in top and bottom. First departure just hanging on by the skin of their teeth, basically. Trying to extend this game, trying to maybe give themselves a chance to win. Lifesteal has been completed now on Gyro. Miracle. Adding that to his inventory. Gonna increase his chances of survival quite a bit. He and the DK both hitting extremely hard. Chunk, 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 just chunking away at this tier 3. And Zenith for the moment zoned out, but don't think it's going to last for long. Down goes the tower. Now they're going to move on up to the racks. And Hook goes off. That's going to catch Shadow Demon again. Magnus waiting in the wings. They're going to be able to clean up the Darkseer. There's an RP that's going to catch NWP. Tinker's there, though. And using all those spammable abilities. That's going to be 4 down. That's going to be our GG. Epicenter comes in. They laid $1 short. Poor Sand King did not have a lot of impact this game. As is, after a thrilling 80-minute barn burner in Game 1, and now a 50-minute romp in Game 2. 25,000 gold. in excess of 20,000 experience by the time all was said and done. Zenith gonna walk away winners here, and First Departure will be taking their exit from Phase 2 of the G-1 Champions League Asian Qualifiers. Fantastic play out of them. Absolutely no doubt about it. Very fun series to cast. Hope you guys had as much fun observing as I did broadcasting it. Don't forget, we're still not done. We got another cast on the way in about an hour and a half. It's going to be about 90 minutes out. Tongfu taking on Neolitian Tai. It'll be at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 12:30 in the afternoon if you're in Central Europe, or 7:30 p.m. if you happen to be in Singapore. Hope you guys will stick around for that. Once again, Zenith walks away 2-0 victors here in this, our first match of Group D in Phase 2 of the Asia Qualifiers of the G1 Champions League. I'm Ayesee. Maybe I'll have a broadcaster, a co-caster for the second series today. Maybe I will. We'll find out. Either way, I'll be hanging around. I'll be back in 90 minutes. Hope you guys will too. See you then.